Hey everyone, I wanted to do a quick macro video of Kershaw Blur s30v version. Just by coincidence, this happens to be the very last knife that I purchased, and it looks like also it was Cajun Blaze's last knife purchase as well, or at least his last video. I got this one used. I got a great deal on it, basically half price. It was in awesome condition. Transaction went extremely smoothly. The previous owner, I'm not sure what the issue was, but just didn't use it at all. So very happy to have it. I've been wanting one. It's been on my list for a while, and I've had the Tanto Tactical Blur version, but I've kind of not liked it at all because the blade is useless with the limited cutting surface. It has very large serrations that, in my view, are just kind of a little mall ninja, if you will. So, anyways, I got the s30v version. Yes, I basically am a steel snob, if you haven't figured that out by now. So I like s30v. It is my favorite steel, and I always I do like Kershaw. I think they make great products. They're consistently sharp when I buy them. Out of the box, sharpness is very good. And I figured, okay, maybe it's not going to be as sharp for s30v. It's a little bit harder steel. Their tooling and their way they produce their product may be a little bit more difficult to deal with s30v. But no, this one is just nicely, amazingly very sharp. It'll slice skin, paper, whatever. So here it is. It's nice stoneware finish. It has a recurved blade, as with most blurs. And again, crazy, crazy sharp. Let me zoom in here. Focus in, rather. Because I'm only picking up the knife. So yeah, the edge is great condition. I'm told only lightly sharpened. I myself lightly sharpened it as well. But it came like this. It was just ridiculously sharp. I put a little dirtiness on there from cutting up some boxes, but I like the Blur. It's very pocketable, easy to carry. Probably should put some kind of rust prevention on here, but it opens quickly. I did tighten up the pivot a little bit on mine, not because anything was wrong with it, but just I wanted to eliminate any and all play. So it's hard for me to hold this still, but you can see the s30v. There's a date code on there, but I'm going to have a hard time focusing on it in the light. It's either October 06 or October 08. Anyway, so you can see the model number there. It's pretty neat that Kershaw does that. Puts the dates and steel type and model number on the knife. Makes it easy on collectors. What else? You can see the zoom in of, no markings on the other side of the knife, but the zoom in of the thumb studs. Thumb studs are pretty cool. They do function well. I like the the purchase, as they say, that you can get on them. Okay, you can see that. But I'm going to keep it real, and I'm going to say that while the thumb studs are very nice to open the blade quickly, it's all going to be blurry here, but you're not going to see that, but fast opening. If you have this knife in your pocket and you reach down in your pocket and you hit the back of these thumb studs with your fingers, your skin, ouch, because these kind of sawed off barrels right here, and the points of them, sharp. Not slicing the skin sharp, but you run up against them in your pocket, ouch. Not comfortable. So in the spirit of keeping it real, that's one little ding. So I may prefer to maybe have a rounded. I think they could keep this design where you have the indentations here and the half drum, but out of the factory I think they should kind of smooth the corners out at least, right about here, because again that is pretty sharp. So one little ding. Decent sized pivot, not huge. Jimping. I think it's a well designed knife. You can see the insides of it here. Barrel style handle, so you have the scales and then the open design with the barrels in the middle, so dirt and mud and whatever else can flow through the knife. Okay, you can see it does pick up some just kind of pocket dirtiness. That's okay, you can clean it out. And lining, and again, sorry for the blur, but every time I move it I have to focus. So look at the lining of the knife here. So you have should we get it here? Let me move out of the way a little bit. Okay, that might be easier to see. So you have the liner lock right here. Okay, and that liner basically extends kind of about midway. And let me get one off-camera look at things here real fast. Yeah, so it extends about midway, and the rest of the scales aren't really lined, steel lined or metal lined or anything like that. So you know, it's not going to be like a heavy, monstrous work knife, but medium duty EDC is maybe a good way to describe it. That recurve is just freaking awesome. I mean, this thing is so sharp that if you're playing around and kind of slid the knife, it would just create a nice little flesh wound. What else? Okay, so assisted opening, very cool. It is fast. Let me focus again. And one-handed, of course. And if you've watched any of my other videos, one of the things that I like with my knives is the ability to open them one-handed and close them one-handed. It may seem a little petty or silly requirement, but I like the ability to do that. You know, I don't have to kind of close the knife with both hands. I can still do whatever I'm doing with my other hand. Most or many assisted opening knives don't allow you to close the knife one-handed. Not easily. I mean, of course you can take the blade and push it against your chest or your leg or whatever, but that's that's not what I'm getting at. I'm talking about using one single hand with your fingers to close the blade as normal. So if, for example, the Benchmade Barrage series, you can't do that very easily with in a comfortable and safe way, because the pressure of the blade is still on. It's kind of a chronic pressure once it's open. So look at it. Let's see how I just did that here. Now I can launch the blade. Okay, it's locked in. All I need to do to disengage it is move the liner over, of course, and there's no pressure in the blade right here, which I think is really cool. You get to a certain point, this point, and then you have to put a little pressure. So I think that's a neat feature of this style of assisted opening knife, and that's why to some extent I like the Blur design better. But don't get me wrong, the Benchmade ones are very nice too. The Nitrous Striker might be the closest. Any of the Nitrous systems might be the same, similar technology as the Blurs here. But I think how Kershaw has implemented it, it's done a nicer and higher quality way, in my opinion. Anyways, debate. Let me know if you don't agree. Back to this. Again, great knife, highly recommend it. Go check out my other Blur video, but this was the macro view. Easy to carry. Love the steel, extremely sharp. Love the recurve, albeit difficult to sharpen. Don't like the sharp thumb studs in your pocket, that will hurt. Love the design, and cool size hole for a lanyard if you're into that. Me, not so much. Love the skateboard tape handle. I think the gripping is just fine on it. Alright, questions, comments? Tell me to stop doing videos? Let me know.